Hello, and thank you for coming back for the second video. So in the first video, we talked about the two main complaints or challenges that couples have with one another. And then we talked about why do we fight? Like, what are the real reasons why people fight, and how to see it as an opportunity to grow, an opportunity to learn about each other, rather than something that is really a problem or a challenge in your relationship. And then finally, we talked about the 7 dimensions of successful relationship. So giving you a map and a vision for your relationship and helping you map the steps between where you are and where you want to be. Now in this video, we're going to continue learning about some of the fundamentals of relationship. And you're going to learn really key insights and tools to understanding what happens when it goes wrong, when it's not working, and what is it needed in order to work well, and what are the steps for that. So this video is going to be really important for you. So it's really important if you can put aside everything that can distract you, really pay attention to it, maybe take notes during the talk, or even pause it and take time to reflect on it and come back to it, so you can really get the most out of this video. So let's talk a little bit about how relationships work. So relationships tend to be type of a cycle, a pattern, a dance. Now most people think about relationship more simply. Especially when they're in a bad place with each other, they're thinking something like, you do those things that upset me, that frustrates me, that makes me feel furious. So just stop doing those things. And if you do, then I'm going to be happy and we're both going to be happy and everything is going to go smoothly and easily. And sometimes they even start to think that the partner is doing those things on purpose. They're trying to really upset them and they don't understand why they're doing this to them. Well, what most people don't understand, what they don't see in their relationship, is that they play a part in this. That relationships tend to be a type of a cycle or a dance together. So every person influenced the other person, and the other person influenced the first person. So we end up in some kind of a dance together. And what happens is that dance doesn't work together. It's not that the partner is trying to do something on purpose. It's just somehow in the dance we don't know how to dance well together, and we have to change our steps and then change the way we approach it. So relationships tend to be a type of a cycle, and there are 2 types of cycles. Either you're in a positive cycle in which you do something that your partner appreciates, and so they feel positive, and then they respond to you in a positive way, which usually would make you feel positive and respond in a positive way. And then they respond in a positive way, and then you respond in a positive way. So then you're in a positive reinforcing cycle. Or I call it the cycle of appreciation and respect. Because when you do that, you feel closer to your partner, you appreciate them, you respect them, and you feel more and more in love and more connected every day. So this is where relationship continues to grow into new heights, into great places, because it keeps reinforcing itself. The problem is that the same thing is true for negative stuff. If you do something that your partner feels is negative, even if your intention is not negative, because usually people don't come into a relationship thinking to themselves, I'm going to make you miserable. But we do something that our partner feels is negative, and so they respond in a negative way, which makes us respond in a negative way, and then they respond in a negative way, and then we respond in a negative way. And then we get caught in a negative reinforcing cycle. So the more I do something, the more they do something. And then the more they do it, the more I do it. And then we get caught in that cycle. Now the problem is that when we don't know how to resolve the cycle, it takes less and less to get caught in the same type of cycle. It takes less and less to trigger it. Because I go into a conversation already expecting something. If I'm in a positive cycle, I'm expecting my partner to listen to me, to hear me, to love me, to respect me. If I'm in a negative cycle, then I'm expecting my partner to not listen to me, to be frustrated or angry with me, or to withdraw from me, or to do something basically that is negative. So as I go into the conversation, I'm already expecting that. So I approach the conversation in a way it's already defensive. And then I'm scanning for the signs that my partner is actually not listening or doesn't care about me. And when I find those signs, I go in my own mind, I'm saying, aha, I already knew that's what's going to happen. And then my reaction is much stronger. And so that's how we get caught. Those expectations get us to get caught even faster and faster and faster. Now it's important to understand something about how we fight and why we fight. And so couples can argue over many different things. Anything in the world could be a topic of argument, whether we want to go for dinner, or whether it's like how do you do the dishes, or whether it's like what kind of support and help do I need around challenges in my work. But the thing is that the things that we talk about, that we fight about, are actually usually not the real thing. They're just a symbol. So I'd like to say that if you're arguing with your partner and it takes more than 3 minutes to resolve, then probably what it means is that you're not talking about the right thing. the thing that triggered the conversation. For example, you were late, and it's really important for me that you be on time. The thing that triggered that conversation is not the real issue. It's not about you being late. It's about the meaning that we make out of it. It's about what does it mean for us when you do this. And for example, it could mean for me that you don't care about me, that you're not really there, that I can't count on you. So those are the real reasons why we actually fight, is the underlying feeling, the underlying needs and desires that we have. And we usually don't talk about them, so we are also not able to really resolve the real issue. And the other thing that's important to understand about this negative pattern is that it tends to be usually one pattern per couple. So while you fight over many different things, you're actually fighting over one pattern. So the good news about it is that if you know how to identify the pattern, if you know what's the causes of the pattern, what the root of it is, and how to change it, then suddenly you're able to change everything about your relationship. And you don't have to go back and talk about all this million different things that you argue about, because you change the underlying foundation of that. So that makes things a lot more simple and a lot more manageable. The second thing that's important about it, the good news about it, is that while it takes two people to create a negative pattern, it only takes one person to break that negative pattern and to change into a positive one. And so while a lot of times you're focused on like what you want your partner to change, if you took ownership, if you say, how do I change the dance? How do I respond differently? Even if my partner does something that everybody would agree is a bad thing to do and you shouldn't do it to someone that you love. If I take ownership of my feelings, if I say, I'm not going to do the next step again, I'm not going to do the negative step again, I'm going to try to find a different way to talk to my partner, a different way to respond to them. If you do that, you immediately break the negative cycle. And if you do it over time again and again, then this negative cycle stops happening and you go into a positive. And your partner starts to appreciate you and see, hey, they really care about me. They really try to make this work. And so they respond in a positive way, and then you appreciate it, and again, you're responding in a positive way, and then you're in the cycle of appreciation and respect. So now let's talk specifically about the structure of the negative cycle. So you really get specific tools and insight into like, how do we get caught? What's really going on? And what do we need to do differently? So the first thing to understand is that there's a layer of defensiveness. So the reason why we get caught in a negative cycle is each person is defensive in their own way, and one person's defensiveness triggers the other person's defensiveness. Okay? So usually what happens, we get hurt, upset, or something goes on that feels off for us with our partner. But we don't really talk about that. We don't really talk about what's going on. We get defensive. We get frustrated with them. We get angry with them. And that defensiveness causes the other person to be defensive. And there are two broad categories to the way we get defensive. One category is we do different things in which we're trying to protest something. So we're trying to say to our partner, this doesn't work for me. I really want it to change. But of course, we don't do it in a nice way because we get emotionally triggered. And so instead, we attack, or we criticize, or we blame. Those are the main kind of types of things that we do when we're trying to protest something. We're going after the other person. We're telling them what they're doing wrong, or we raise our voice and we get really angry with them. So if your partner gets angry with you, and frustrated with you, and you feel it's unfair, instead of getting caught in your feelings towards them, if you can see them as protesting, if you can see that what they're trying to say is something doesn't work for me, and it's so important to me that I really need you to change this, or I really need you to help me with something, because this is really crucial to me, because you're important to me. You start listening to what they're protesting about, and you start recognizing there's probably some kind of a request, or their complaint is showing me something about what they want. And if I respond to what they want, they'll stop being angry. Okay? So that can really change the way you respond to them. So that's one category, is protesting or attacking, criticizing. From the other side, like another broad categories of how we get defensive, is we try to protect ourselves. And we protect ourselves by trying to get away from something that is painful. So if our partner is criticizing or blaming us, or something doesn't work for us, instead of going after them, this kind of person with this kind of category of defensiveness, they withdraw, they go away. They're saying, I'd rather keep the peace and not fight, and that's more important to me than resolving it. And so what they try to do is they try to shut down the conversation. They try to dismiss it. They say, okay, this is not important, or this didn't happen. And a lot of times they also even walk away from the conversation saying like, I just can't talk to you, or like, I don't want to talk about this anymore. And when you do that, you shut down the conversation, you shut down the connection, you're withdrawing from the connection and the conversation. But The person that does it usually does it because something feels painful for them. It feels like it's not manageable for me, and I don't know how to resolve it. Like I don't know what to do differently. So it's better that we don't fight and even if it's not resolved, rather than we fight and we just get make things worse. So if your partner tends to be more on the protect side or the withdraw side, if you understand that they do that because something feels difficult for them, and they don't know what the way out and how to make you feel satisfied. And so if you take a break and you say, okay, take your time, let's not escalate, let's not get to a place that feels very emotional, let's stay calm. Come back when you're ready. I really want to talk about it differently. I want to hear what you have to say, and I want to be more specific about what I need from you so you succeed, so you feel successful. Then you're really able to change their behavior and not get caught in this protect pattern. And you can see also how this pattern reinforces itself, because the more one person attacks or protests something, the more the other person feel blamed and criticized, and it's not working for them, and so they withdraw. And the more the person withdraws, the more the other person goes after them and say, hey, where did you go? Like, why are you not paying attention to me? Okay? And then we get caught in that cycle. Now, if you ask yourself, you're probably asking yourself at this point, so, but then what do we do differently? So what is actually happening? How do we do it differently? And so what's underneath that, what's underneath the defensive side, is actually a fear and a desire. We're all looking forward to feel something from a partner, and we're afraid of something. So for example, on the side of the attack or protest, a lot of the time what the person feels is, I want to know that you're there for me. I want to know that I count on you. I want to know that you love me, that you appreciate me, that I'm a priority for you. And so when you do X, whatever is a thing, the symbol that you're fighting about, what they're really feeling is like, it feels like you don't care about me and I can't count on you. And the person who is protecting or withdrawing, a lot of the time what they feel is, whatever I give you is not enough. Like I try to be myself, I try to do something good, but it feels like it doesn't affect you positively. You're still frustrated and you're angry with me, so I don't know what to do, and I don't feel appreciated, I don't feel valued, as if like I don't have a value in this relationship. And so I try to withdraw and go away from the relationship because I don't see any other way. So let me give you that also as an example from my life, because my wife and I got caught in exactly this pattern many years ago, and it took us a while to figure it out, but once we did, we really transformed our relationship into being on the same page. Because once you understand that there's a pattern here, instead of fighting with each other, you understand it's not about each other, it's about your different styles of or different desires and needs. And if we understand each other, we can be on the same page. We can both fight the pattern together. So we're a team working to figure out this pattern and how to respond to each other, so we both get our needs met and we both feel happy and connected. And so when we started fighting, it was about 1.5 years or 2 years into our relationship, things kind of started escalating. In the beginning, it was small arguments, small stuff, and then it started feeling like the same music happening again and again, and we started feeling more frustrated and more disconnected, which makes us more angry with each other. And my wife's main complaint about me was you work too hard, and you don't pay enough attention to my family, and you also will always go with your friends, or you do your own stuff, your own hobbies, and we're not doing things with my friends. And my complaints about her was like that I'm just trying to relax in our relationship, and she always bring up stuff, and it's always the wrong time, and I don't want to talk about it, or it's not, I'm too tired, and she makes a big deal out of everything, and I don't know what she wants from me because I always work hard and it's for both of us, and I don't understand what she wants from me. Now, if you've been listening well to what I was saying, you're probably starting to hear the protect side of this cycle, or the attack withdraw. So my wife was actually protesting something. She was protesting, I don't think like you're here. I don't think like you're paying attention. I don't think you're investing enough in my relationship. And even if you're investing, it doesn't feel like you're there emotionally. I don't feel you. It doesn't feel like you understand me, like you get me, like you hear me some way. And I was just trying to protect myself. I was just saying like, you're making it's such a big deal. And it's not, and you always bring stuff up and you blow it up, and I don't know what you get from me, and you're not appreciating or valuing me. So basically I was withdrawing, I was trying to shut down the conversation. I didn't know how to respond. It just felt as if like I have no out. So if I have no out, it's better to just shut down the conversation and get away from it. And once we really started talking and understanding what's underneath that, what's really going on, we recognized that she needed more validation. She needed me to be more present. She needed me to be there. She needed to feel like I really care and I prioritized her. And some of the ways I was going about doing things did not make her feel this way. Even if inside I was thinking she's really important, I really love her. Actually, some of the things I was doing were not making her feel loved or connected or priority. And so she was trying to protest that and was trying to get me to come closer to her. And what I understood on my side is that I really want to feel valued and appreciated in our relationship. I really do care, and I really do work hard for both of us. And she is a priority in my life. But when I feel criticism, or when I feel any kind of a complaint, or when she's saying this phrase that a lot of men actually afraid of, the phrase of like, we got to talk about something, then I immediately get defensive because I feel like she's telling me what I'm doing is not good enough, or I don't know what to do, or I'm not making you happy. And so what I really want, my desire, is to feel loved, to feel appreciated, and to feel that you really get me, that you see my true value. And so once we learn how to really talk about things this way, it really changed our relationship, and we got to really respond to each other's real needs and feel really close and really in love with one another, and also more passionate and more excited. So let's summarize. What we learned in this video is that relationships tend to be a type of a cycle. And the cycle could be either a positive cycle, which is exactly where you want to be, where you're investing something and your partner responds in a positive way, etc. Or it could be a negative cycle in which you get caught in a negative dance. You do something, your partner responds negatively to it, you respond negatively, and then you get caught in the pattern. We also learned that it's a pattern, that while you'll fight over many, many different things, really there's certain needs and emotional desires that you have underneath the surface that are fueling the pattern. And if you recognize the pattern, if you understand exactly what's going on, what's your blueprint of fighting, of conflict, and you understand what's underneath that, which is usually some kind of fear about our connection or our value, and some kind of a desire to feel something from your partner, to get something from your partner. If you understand that and you recognize we can do both, like we can, provide the needs and respond to the desires of both people at the same time, then you really transform all of your relationship, and you get to a place of feeling really good with one another and really connected. And so once you get that, the next thing you have to do is you have to learn how to communicate about it in a way that will create connection, and will make your partner listen to you and hear you, and also how to listen to your partner so you really get them. So in the next video, I'm going to talk to you more about communication. How do we talk to each other in a way that really creates connection and creates an understanding, a deep felt understanding from one another. So if you like this video, again, please spread the word about it, share it on social media, or tell your friends about it, so more people can learn about their relationship and create the love that they really want. Thank you.